Hey guys, what's up? Scottish Tucker once again. Alright, I knew I would regret doing this in the winter. I'm knackered now, it's nearly midnight. I'm probably keeping the neighbours up, bitching about anime on a Saturday night. What am I saying? Everybody else is out. But whatever. Top 5, here we go. Studio Ghibli films. Right, now, this is definitely the cream of the crop right here. You know, like the past few films that I've been talking about were definitely stuff that I'd really recommend and really enjoyed and would really watch like multiple times, you know. These 5 are the best, you know, so let's go, shall we? Right, now, this one, funny story behind this one actually. I remember I was in from work one night, right, and I had no Studio Ghibli films to watch, you know. The night before I actually re-watched one of them, which I haven't talked about yet. But I had none of them to watch. So I remember going to Morrison's just down the road there, and I had a glance at the DVD section, you know. There was a faint bit of hope in my heart, extremely faint, because for Morrison to carry anime DVDs is pretty fucking low, you know. But if they're high profile enough, they will. And sure enough, there was one. I grabbed it immediately, took it home, and watched it, and it became one of my favourites. That is The Wind Rises, which is Hayao Miyazaki's last film ever. You know? Apparently. Maybe. Probably. Has a bit of a Hideo Kojima complex, that man, so he might come back, but who knows for now. But, yeah. The Wind Rises. Miyazaki has apparently always had this massive, like, love for planes, you know? Like, I don't know, it's just his hobby, I guess. And you can see that sprinkled throughout the films, you know, like Porco Rosso, obviously very plane heavy. Yeah, it's like Nausicaa's glider, obviously has like the wings and that, and you know, it's just, he loves planes, you know. And he basically made a film based around a real person who was a designer of planes in World War II on the Japanese side, you know. And that was obviously very controversial and very bold of him to go ahead and do it, but I remember reading on this and I'm like, okay, Miyazaki, yeah, I know what you're saying. Apparently he was inspired to make this film when he read a quote from the guy whose name I can't remember, Jiro, there we go. He was, basically he quoted when he was asked about making World War II, you know, death machines, I just want to make something beautiful. You know, he just wanted to make planes, and that's what this film's all about. It's all about a dude living through Japan, going through all the things that was happening in Japan at the time, and he just really wanted to make planes, you know? And he does make planes, and he meets a girl, and he falls in love, and feelsy stuff happens, you know? That's all I can say about this one, right? It's another one of the very feelsy films, very slice of life, just going from the beginning to up to the end of this this guy, you know? And it doesn't end on a high note. That's probably the thing I took away from this the most, you know? It's actually kind of depressing, and it's like, well, no fucking shit, it's a World War II film, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of like really things in here that got me choked up, you know? But it was also just really nice to watch as well, you know? Like, that's the main thing I can always say about these films, but I'm surprised that I can, like, you know, praise it this highly, because I've already said I like things that are much more light-hearted, and this wasn't necessarily. You know, the character himself is, but the situation not necessarily. There's a lot of serious stuff in here. But yeah, it's like, can't really say much more about it. It's my number 5. I really, really loved it, you know? Yeah. The Wind Rises. Don't know if you're going to come back, Miyazaki, but you left on a bang, that's for sure. And you have 1 or 2 other films here to talk about anyway, so yeah. The next one is Kiki's Delivery Service. Now, Miyazaki, very early Miyazaki actually, this is just a perfect example of a really, like, cute and cuddly film, you know? Just stars a young girl, again, who is a witch, okay? And she just lives in basically the real world, only in this real world, witches are apparently a thing. They fly on brooms and all that, and they do shit. They do whatever they want, apparently, and she starts a delivery service, and antics ensue. She meets other people, and yeah, it's just, again, nice to watch. I'm repeating the fuck out of myself now, but that's all there is to it. Kiki herself was, you know, she can be a bit bratty at times, I suppose, but she's ultimately really likable, you know. And all the other characters, like she's got a boy who she becomes friends with, and he's mega into planes, you know, Miyazaki's plane thing again. She's got a cat who's hilarious, who apparently a witch power is able to talk to cats. And yeah, again, just nice film. I got nothing to say, alright? You can tell it's very early Miyazaki because the weirdness is kind of left to a minimum. That's definitely a thing about Miyazaki, you know. He got weirder. Like, you know what I mean when I say weirder, right? I'm not meaning that as a bad thing. He just got more like what he is now known for as time went on, you know. Actually, with that said, Wind Rises didn't really have anything weird in it at all, so scratch what I just said, I'm talking pish, but yeah, it's yeah, I love this one. That's all I can say. Kiki's delivery service, just again, I just want to reach out and pinch the film's cheeks if I could. That's how adorable it is. But yeah, now we're on to the top 3. Now, this was the very first Studio Ghibli film I ever sat through and watched. It was Spirited Away, and as far as I'm concerned, this is the quintessential Studio Ghibli film. It's the thing that kind of made Miyazaki the director that he is, you know. And again, I think it's because this film is so weird. You know, there's so much like intense, weird imagery in this film. I think that's what we all associate Miyazaki with now. You know, just like doing all this weird, intense stuff. That's what Ponyo and Howl's Moving Castle were to me, you know. Only in those films, even though they were weird, they kind of lacked like all the other things that make a good film a good film. Well, they are. They just weren't as strong as they probably should, and definitely not as strong as they should in this. You know. Like Chihiro, like all the other characters in this, I loved all of them, you know? Like I gave a shit about the situation, the scenario, you know? The weirdness was there, but the characters were there as well, and they were what I focused on, you know? Yeah, like, I think I already told this story in the first part of this. If not, I'll just tell it again, I'm sorry. I watched this, right? I got a lane of it from my friend, watched 20 minutes of it, and then just stopped, you know? But I sat here really bored one night and just popped it in and fell in love with it, you know? Again, it really is like the character of Chihiro, you know? She is very... like, she's transported into a world and her parents have turned into pigs, and not the Porco Rosso pig, like fucking glutton, ugly looking pigs, and, you know, there's a lot of scenes where she's just sort of sitting there crying and feeling bad, you know, and it never really gets boring or that. It's like, yeah, I can relate. You're fucking a young girl and your parents have turned into pigs. That's shite hen, you know. But despite all that, she still manages to like be to keep doing the right thing, if you know what I mean. Like, she still perseveres. Like, she befriends one of the other characters, and when he's in trouble, she tries to help her. Tries to help him, and yeah, lots of other like really memorable stuff in here, you know. But again, the weirdness is what most people are attracted to, and I'll admit I dig the weirdness in this one as well, you know. Like especially what's his name? This character, No Face, is it? I don't know. He's got like an official name, I guess. You know, he was definitely funny. But yeah. Like, you all know about this one. As far as I'm concerned, this is the quintessential one. Again, a lot of people do say My Neighbor Totoro. I say this one. And it's my third favourite on the Ghibli lineup. So, what's better than Spirited Away? Well, I'm just looking at these two films. These are just... I love these to death, I really do. To the point where, okay, I'm literally looking at them now and I'm thinking, which one do I like more, you know? Like, I had them properly labelled it before I turned on the camera, but now I'm just thinking, maybe I changed my mind. Okay, I'll stick with the script. Number 2 is the last Miyazaki one, Laputa, Castle in the Sky. Now, how should I put this? Kiki's Delivery Service was just the perfect, like, cute film, you know? This is like the perfect adventure film to me, but at the same time being sort of cute, right? You just got 2 kids, a boy and a girl, go off and have an adventure, and that's it, you know? There's there's not really any sort of like, there's not even any romance there. There's a little bit of romance, but it's never like overplayed, you know? They're just two people who come to care about each other and want to help each other out. And they meet a bunch of other people in their adventure, and there's a bad guy who's awesome, and a bunch of other like lore and all that underneath everything that all gets resolved by the end, and just afterwards you just feel like you were on an adventure, you know, and you experienced it and you're gonna remember it. It's a wonderful fucking film, you know. This is the one that I've watched the most. I've watched this maybe about 4 or 5 times. Like, most of these films I've only really watched once, you know. A couple of them I've watched like a couple of times, but this is the one I like to have in the background the most. And that's kind of why I'm thinking maybe it is my favourite. It's really hard to say. Like, I will say this as well, this is actually a very battered copy. Like, it's really aged and all that. I got this out of CEX used. The reason I got it, because this was actually the first Studio Ghibli film I bought, you know? Like, I know I said I bought Spirited Away, but really it was this one. Because my friend and his girlfriend, who I've been referring to, they actually went to a convention and cosplayed as the two main characters, you know, Shita and Pasu. I never went to the convention with them, I just saw pictures, but I'm like, oh, you guys, that's some really good costume, and I kind of just decided to myself, okay, they've went and cosplayed as them, I owe it to myself to pick this up, you know. That's what I thought when I saw it in CEX, you know, I should pick this up and watch it. It took me a long time to watch it, because it was only after this was the second one that I watched, okay? It was only after finishing Spirited Away, I got that sort of like itch, I'm like, you know, that was really good, maybe I should check out another Ghibli film, and I just happened to have that. I watched this in the same night as I watched Spirited Away, and yeah, like, I don't know if it's because I watched these two first that they're so high, you know, but I really do think they're, like, in the top 3, you know, but this one in particular, this was the one I prefer over Spirited Away. It's just, I really like it. I really, really like it. But what is number 1? Okay, you Studio Ghibli fanatics out there have already figured it out by the process of elimination, and you're probably thinking, what the fuck, Duck? Isn't that a bit of a weird choice? And you know what, I admit it is a fucking weird choice. Of all the Studio Ghibli films, I've chosen this one as my favourite. I have no idea why. It's not directed by Miyazaki or Takahata. It is The Cat Returns. This film just hits all the right spots for me, okay? It's a very biased and like personal thing, it just really does, okay? It makes me laugh really hard, you know, like almost as much as My Neighbors the Yamadas. It is hilarious, you know? And the main character, Haru, she is just so, I love her, you know? Like, she's just again a typical girl living in Japan, and she feels like she doesn't fit in, and she feels like she'd be better off living with cats, and she gets that opportunity, and she hates it. She meets up with these other characters, one of which is a cat that she actually sort of gets a crush on, you know, and that doesn't come off as creepy to me. Like, it's weird, you know, in Porco Rosso, I found it creepy, but in this one, I found it kind of endearing. I don't know why, maybe it's another biased thing, and they just play it off so well, you know, there's no actual romance there. It's just a cute little thing, you know. And one thing I was going to mention, where the fuck did I put it? This film is actually the sort of successor to this film, Whisper of the Heart. I was talking about this when I was mentioning this one. Because the main character here, I mentioned that she wanted to be an author, okay? And I remember I watched this after I watched The Cat Returns, and when it was finished, I connected the dots and I was actually right. This film was supposed to be a story that the main character in Whisper of the Heart had written, like, later on. Because it uses some of the same characters, you know, but in a sort of, like, more romanticized way. And this is the sort of, like, Alice in Wonderland story that I thought Whisper of the Heart was going to be, you know? Like, there is, like, a whole other magical world that coexists with the real one. And, again, it just ticks all the right boxes for me, okay? It's funny, it's very original. I love the music, like, just one song in particular, I can't even remember the name, but I really love it a lot. It's a ukulele song. But, yes, this is just my favourite one. This is the peak. Again, I'm very conflicted of which of these two I like more, but I'm just gonna go with this one. The only thing wrong with this one, the only thing that really annoys me about it, it's like an hour long, like 72 minutes, yeah. When I finish watching it, I've watched this about twice, you know, like not as much as Laputa, but every time I watch this one, I'm like, wasn't there like 20 minutes of this cut out or something? You could have done more, you know, you could have given us more, it just ends way too quickly, and I only say that because I love it so much, you know. I watched this sort of in the middle of like the Ghibli-thon, and it was just the one that I dig the most. It was the one that I was genuinely like upset about ending, you know. Every other film I was sort of like, oh well, that's that over, now I can go on to the next one. This one I just wanted more, like genuinely, just more, okay. So that's my favourite Ghibli film. And that's all of them. My voice is fucking killing me, right? I probably won't upload all these in a one-hour, I'll probably split them up and upload them every time. But if you guys, let me know if you want me to talk about anime. Well, actually, I probably wouldn't because I'm quite inexperienced. I don't really put my opinion of anime on the same level as I do my opinion about video games. You know, I'm more comfortable going on about video games than I am about anime, in case I say something that might make me sound ignorant or something, I don't know, but that's that anyway. See you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.